transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
25,000 stars with 19,000 inhabited systems, settlements, outposts, stations, and bases. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Well, we can take you there. If you're too poor to own a spaceship, Apex Interstellar. What are you waiting for? No, is this thing finished? Get out of my way.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Amid the stars in the sky, humanity expands and thrives as it pushes back the boundaries of the universe. From the luxury of the core systems to the harsh worlds of the frontier, men still fight. Some fight for survival or greed. Some fight for a flag and others for retribution. But across the lonely darkness, they all share one aim: to be elite.
Escape Velocity, an Elite Dangerous audio adventure serial written and produced by Christopher Jarvis. Episode 5, The Dark Shadow.
I've been very patient, Thane, and I have little time. We can get you out of here in minutes. All we ask is that before you leave in your ship, you hand us the girl, for your safety and hers. We are not people you want to cross, 45.
I get told that a lot.
Well?
You can't trust them, Thane. I'm your only shot at getting us off this planet alive.
What's a deal?
Excellent decision, Commander. Dallas, switch on the cameras. Be seeing you.
Kerlek,
What do you want?
how quickly can you get us out of here?
Do you think he'll go through with it?
Hard to say. He's a tricksy son of a spacer.
Are you going to see the girl?
No, I don't want to risk a confrontation in this security area.
What should I do?
Hang on, Dallas. Go for message.
There you are, 23. Report.
Grand Matriarch Absalon.
Get on with it, child. Have you secured the girl?
Almost. The federal military have them under arrest.
Damn. How irritating. Have you made arrangements?
I've made a deal with the pilot. I don't know if he can be trusted. I was about to instruct Dallas to take the girl while I cover the landing bay in my Viper, in case the pilot is planning a double cross.
Dallas? Who is Dallas?
Agent 39, Eminence.
Ah, yes. A very capable unit. Change your plans.
Eminence?
Intelligence suggests that Alpha 23 is in the system.
Camilla.
You know what you must do. If you have the chance to face Alpha 23, you must deal with her yourself.
But I have so much work still to do.
Do you forget your duty, child? The purpose of your training, your very existence?
No, Grand Matriarch.
You are her dark shadow, and she is your guiding light. You must reach out to her and share your darkness.
I am her dark shadow. What must I do?
Pilot the Viper yourself. Leave 39 on the ground to cover the exchange. Dallas can handle the girl. You must deal with Camilla. Clear?
Clear.
Good girl.
What is it?
Orders from Mother. Head to the dock in case Thane does hand over the girl willingly. I'm going to my ship to cover the Merlin. When Thane does take off, with or without the girl, I'll destroy it.
As you wish.
Okay, it sounds like they've gone. Kurlek, what's your plan for getting us out of here?
Does your cell have a keypad on the door?
Sure, but the encryption on this thing is impossible to break.
What we'll type in IML337.
Okay.
See? Told you I had a plan.
How did you get the code?
Well, that was the easy bit. I had the code off the guard within the first 10 minutes of being here. Turns out she's a big fan of my skills. I even made a sale on top of the codes.
Do you have May's code too?
Yeah, come on, I think her cell's down here. This one.
Right.
Thane, you came for me.
Well, I couldn't leave you behind.
Let me grab my shoes.
Are you going to tell her about...
No.
How did you get us out?
Kurlek had the door codes. Hang on a minute. If you had those, why didn't you just leave? What did you need me for?
Ah, well, that's, you see, there's a bit of the escape I'm not really good at.
Yes, prisoner. You still have to pass the guard.
Oh. That would be you, I suppose.
I don't want to lose my job for letting you get away, so I need you to make this look good.
What do you mean, look good?
That's a good start, prisoner. Bruises on my fist showed that I tried hard to stop you.
Thane!
Best leave them to it, sweetheart. We need to get that service panel open.
Come on, prisoner. At least try and hit me back.
But...
They'll be fine, I promise. Right, now, where in my artificial leg did I stash that blowtorch?
Come on, how is it supposed to look like I failed to stop you escape? If you can't even land one punch?
I'm not exactly trained in hand-to-hand fighting, you know. If I was in my ship, this would be a very different story. Stop! Wait. Give me a sec.
Okay, prisoner. Let's try this differently. How about
As they say on the frontier, if you're in a fair fight, you're doing it wrong. Boy, that spacing witch can punch.
Did she hurt you?
Ignore him. I think he's in love. I've never seen him smile this much.
I'll smile you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could interrupt your arguing just for a moment. The door is open. After you.
Where are we?
I can't tell. I'm not used to the layout of Imperial spaceports.
We should be somewhere near the viewing gallery.
Sounds like someone has figured out we're trying to leave.
We should go that way.
Okay, come on.
Down here.
Wait, look out!
Stop! Citizens! You are under arrest for crimes against the Federation.
Quick, back this way.
All right.
Hold prisoners. You will stop there and submit to Imperial security.
What now?
Here, duck behind this counter.
Halt! Federal soldiers, you will withdraw and leave the prisoners to us.
Negative, Imperial. These citizens are guilty of federal crimes and will be released into our custody.
In the matter of spaceport security, we have jurisdiction, and we will deal with these prisoners for the crime of breaking detention.
What do we do now, Sarge? Can't risk an incident with the Imperial, son. Back off. Slowly.
Unit, we mustn't allow a diplomatic incident to occur. Lower weapons and withdraw.
Okay, what in space just happened?
The soldiers left. All of them.
Let me get this straight. The Imperial and Federal security teams both backed out of arresting us because they couldn't have any direct dealings with each other.
It happens all the time in these border systems. The Federation don't want to get into a scrap with us.
The war here is so cold that they daren't even fire a gun within a mile of each other.
Isn't it the same in the frontier?
No. We just start shooting and whoever's left at the end gets the bounty.
Welcome to civilization. Come on, lad, let's get to the docking bays before somebody changes their mind. Is that your ship?
Yeah.
Isn't that a Merlin? That's a bit new and fancy for you, isn't it?
Yeah, she's my pride and joy. Can we get on, please?
Where did you get it?
Maybe later. Let's go!
They're coming after us.
Space! They're shooting! If one of those shots hits the docking bay seal, we're in trouble. Have you still got that remlock?
Yeah.
Keep hold of it and run. Come on, run!
We made it.
Oh, this is a nice ship. A very nice ship. But more the damage.
Not now.
They're still shooting out there. Can they damage the ship?
Those rifles shouldn't scratch the armour. Orbital traffic control. This is Merlin attack fighter, escape velocity. Registration Echo Victor 223. Requesting takeoff clearance.
Negative EV223. Our records indicate that you have unresolved police fines.
Space! We can't get out.
Leave it to me. Is that Jason? Are you still enjoying those counterfeit dream sequences I sold you? The legal ones are really expensive, aren't they?
Clearance granted, Commander. Seal airlocks and prepare for launch.
Thank you, OTC.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
I always say it pays to have a good memory.
New radar contact.
Ma'am, sensors indicate Thane's ship is lifting off. Do you want to open fire?
No, wait. I want to talk to him. I want to be sure he's on that ship, and I want him to know that it's me who kills him. Open a channel.
Hailing craft.
Hello? Hello? Who's this? It's not really a good time.
Hello, Thane.
Camilla, you sound... well...
Thank you, honey. And thank you for confirming you're on your ship.
Wait, listen. It wasn't my fault. The police picked me up as soon as I got here.
How good is your memory, Commander Thane? If you think back, you'll recall I said that if anything happened to the shipment, it would be bad news for you.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be bad news for you, I'm afraid. If it's any consolation, I hope you survive the destruction of your ship.
Really? Why?
Because then we can rescue you, and I can finish the job with a knife. Pilot, assign me the firing controls. Come round for an attack.
That went well, considering.
Lorand?
What's happening down there, Dallas?
Thane betrayed us. He escaped, grabbed the girl, and got to his ship. You should see him on your scanner.
Hang on. Got it. His ship is just leaving the atmosphere.
Are you going to take him out?
Just watch me. Wait a minute. There's another ship angling around for an attack vector.
Incoming! Hold on!
Not this again.
Sorry, kid. Getting shot at is almost a daily part of space travel.
And that's why I stay on the ground.
Can you get him out of here? Take him to the cargo bay or something.
Can't you hyperspace out?
We're too close to the planet. Believe you me, as soon as the drive spins up, we are out of here.
Where do we go? We've got the Federation and the Empire after us.
We might... No, we can't.
What? What are you thinking?
I didn't want to have to admit it, but we might have to run to the frontier.
Wait, I can't go back there.
Yeah, you and me both. But I'm running out of choices here.
Listen,
May?
I think... Take us into the Empire.
What? Are you insane?
Take me to my father. He can help.
We've got half the galaxy after us. What can your father do?
Well, he is a senator.
Say that again?
My father is an Imperial senator. His name is Tobias Havelock.
You'd better not be joking.
Of course I'm not joking. I want to go home.
And you leave it until now to mention it?
I've been trying to tell you my father can help for ages, but you never listen.
All right, punch it into the computer while I keep us alive. Where are we going?
My father was posted to Fasis.
The naval shipyard. You have to be kidding.
All right, do it.
How's it going, Rand? Is Thane destroyed yet?
No. Whoever is attacking him is making a mess of it. I was hoping to sit back and watch someone else destroy them, but at this rate he'll get away.
Do something!
I'm moving in to attack.
Incoming priority message.
Open channel.
Who the hell is this? This is my kill. Back off!
That voice.
Lorand? That sounds like...
It's Alpha 23. She's here. Her voice.
Is it time? Do you feel it?
I feel it. Her voice is drawing me. I am her dark shadow.
Dark shadow? What the hell are you talking about? Get off my target or I'll kill you too.
I am the dark shadow, and she is the guiding light. I share with her my darkness.
Thane, another craft is moving in to attack Camilla.
Good. I'll take all the help I can get.
Ma'am, that other craft is moving to attack us. What? How dare they? I will prize the flesh from her bones. Destroy it! I can't get a good hit. That Viper's loaded with shield. Destroy her, damn you! Destroy her! I can't! She's on a collision course. She's going to ram us. No!
I share my darkness with you.
The other ship just rammed them.
Those Vipers pack one hell of a punch.
Are they down?
According to the scanner, the Viper is drifting. It's powerless.
And the Constrictor? Camilla?
It's a big wreck, but... No. There's a hole punched right through it.
Any Remlock alarms?
No. Anybody on board must be dead by now. There's a single escape pod in the wreckage.
Not our problem. Let's get out of here. Let's go and find your father.
Are you okay? I found your pod drifting in the wreckage of that battle.
This ship? What kind of ship is it?
This is my Cobra Mark III. It may look a bit retro, but you'll be perfectly safe.
That'll do just fine. I'll take it. I'm gonna find you, Thane. I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna kill you twice.
In that episode of Escape Velocity, Amy Timms played May, Christopher Jarvis, Thane, Liam Macaulay, Dallas, Rebecca Keeves, Lorand, Alan Wales played Kurlek, Janet Westwood-Wilson, Camilla, Anne Collins, Avsalan, Katie Howes, Pilot, John Stabler, Orbital Traffic Control, with Verity Croft as the voice of the computer. Chris Foster-Forrester was himself. Escape Velocity was written and produced by Christopher Jarvis, with additional music by Alan Stroud, and is a Radio Theatre Workshop production. This work contains non-law fiction set in the Elite Dangerous galaxy. Elite Dangerous is copyright Frontier Developments plc. For more information, please visit escapevelocity.laveradio.com.
Get ready. LAVE Radio.
Out there's a ship just for you. A ship that can carry you to the furthest stars, jumping long distances whilst offering an unobstructed view of the galaxy. A ship that can also pack a decent punch if the pirates come knocking. A ship that feels safe. A ship that feels like home. The Asp Explorer. A great ship at a great price in a competitive galaxy. Fly far. Fly safe. Fly in front of things.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
and the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from an orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 411 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix the Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Station. And joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for tonight's episode, we have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit.
Hello.
We have our Apprentice Stunt Driver, Commander Alec Turner.
Good evening, everyone.
And as Ben is taking the week off to help put up shelves and do general DIY, we have roped in our chief test pilot, the legend that is Commander Crash.
Greetings, Commanders.
Yes. So if you wish, you can join us live on Twitch. We do have the Chris Mark 4 hanging about in Lave Station at the moment, I think. So you can always pop by and wave to him. Otherwise, if you can't get to wave at Chris, you can join us in the in-game Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or go to Twitch TV/Lave Radio, or go to Facebook, go to YouTube, or Twitter. We're all there, and I'll just wave to everybody in the chat room that's already there. Very nice of you to join us. Thank you. So we will go around the crew and see what Earth's been up to for the last week. So let us start with Commander Psychit. How are we doing?
Oh God. I've been not doing a lot. Honestly, I've been taking, this is going to sound really sort of stupid and really not much of a positive way to start off the show, but I've trying to come to terms with new pain. New pain that has started to manifest in my hands, which, as people who play Elite Dangerous, and all of us, I believe, with hostesses, you might understand that it's a little bit difficult to have something taken away from you quite as excessively, like without you doing anything. I haven't done anything at all to my hands, but it just means that I can't do the things that I want to do, which is, let's be honest, sit and play Elite Dangerous all day. And obviously other bits and pieces and all of like the tactile things that involve being on the computer and doing stuff. I've purchased some. I've been getting used to using some compression gloves, which was something that Darren actually recommended to me, because he uses them and I bought them, and they're doing a really good job. The pain hasn't gone, and I've got like a consultation with the doctor about it. But it's just like those of you who are chronic pain sufferers who know what it's like to have chronic pain and all of that kind of stuff. When there is a new pain and something new that you're not like dealing with every day, it becomes really, really like super detrimental, and it's such a kick in your mental health as well. So I've not been doing a lot because of everything that's happening. I have been playing Elite. I've been playing more Cyberpunk. I've been playing this game called Dome Keeper as well, which is a pixelated roguelike game, which is great because if you use a keyboard and mouse with it, you only have to use your left hand, and my right hand is the one which hurts more. So
Right.
that's a fucking beaut of a game, and it's really fun. Anything else that we've been doing? My dog fell into a lake, into a canal the other day. And came home soaking, so that was funny.
I'm glad he got out.
Oh yeah, no, he was fine. We like he fell into the canal, and we found out at that point that he knew how to swim because he steers away from swimming all of the time. But but that's about it, really.
It sounds like the Scottish approach to swimming lessons. They throw you in the
Just
water and
throw
shout,
in.
"Don't drown."
I said to the other half, like, what were you doing? He was like, I was just tying my shoelace and I heard a splash.
I thought he threw him in and shouted, "Don't drown," because he's Scottish.
No, because if he'd done that, I'd be swinging for him, like broken hands or not. But yeah, that's about it. It's a bit of a downer, but yeah, Elite Dangerous is fun when I can play.
Yes, well, let's hope that it eases off in the near future, shall we? Okay, we will move on to Commander Crash.
Hello, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, my dear. That's it's not very fun. I know that.
No, true stuff.
Yeah. I kind of just got a little bit of RSI, but that's nothing in comparison to that. So yeah, hopefully that gets better. Myself, what a busy, inhaling caffeine and burning the candle at both ends. I'm very, very busy since we last spoke. In game wise, I finally G5 modded all weapons and suits. Yeah. So it was very, yeah. I got a massive collection now. I'm ready for anything. Well, maybe not insectoid things coming at me on foot, but ready for most things at least. So thank you to everyone who jumped in on my stream, helping me get the mats and things like that. Finally got there. We're just prepping up now. I'm going to move the carrier. The squadron's going to head out to Colonia. We're taking the brave Sir Robin approach to the upcoming story.
So thanks for that. Run away.
Yeah, there's enough people that want to watch. So.
This is going to remind me when Distant Worlds happened, when you lot all ran away on Distant Worlds, and the Thargoids attacked, and I felt like I was the only one in the bubble holding the line. I was really appreciative.
Stood there like the Travolta meme, like surrounded by dragons.
Thank you, Colin, for defending the Earth.
Look at all this.
Hey, they never made it to Seoul, did they?
No, that's true. He did a good job.
Yet.
Yeah. So it's your turn.
Oh no, this time it's different.
Yeah, I'm not there.
You're welcome to hop on the carrier, then you don't have to worry. So yeah, been doing that in game. Outside of game, I've been equally massively busy. I had to take a break from streaming last week. I went down to support my brother. He's following his dream. He's opening up a tabletop gaming store in his local town.
Nice.
Which is great. So, massive props to him. And thank you to everyone. There's a bunch of people donated. So massive thank you, everyone. He hit about $4,000 on his crowdfunder thing. So he's going to be able to get extra stock in and things now. And he's going to be giving a bunch away to the people who contributed to that as well, which is great. It's mostly Games Workshop stuff, but he is doing a bunch of other things as well. I think so, like the Star Wars things as well, the tabletop stuff,
Legion and X-Wing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff. But it's great because it's like a community hub for all the local groups there to get together and play games. Mostly, he's got the tables and all set up, so that's the main thing. So big kudos to him for doing that. And beyond that, I'm not sure if I mentioned that I have pet exotic frogs. I like dart frogs. I don't know if that's come up in conversation before, but
No.
No.
I mean, we do wonder when you ever walk around with one of those blow tubes. we do worry that something might happen.
They're mildly toxic. It's fine. It's okay as long as it's fine. Just handle them correctly. It's fine.
Actually, it does explain a lot of your behaviour. You've been licking frogs, haven't you?
that's why I'm just so worked up all the time. But no, I'd been so busy because I found out that one is a boy and one is a girl. So we've got a whole bunch of tadpoles. 6 of them have just climbed out of the water, and I've got about 60 more. So it's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yes, please don't release them into the wild.
No, definitely not. No, we've got some good homes lined up for them, but still looking for some more if people want any.
Yeah, if you want your own poisonous frog, Commander Crash, you want to go. Oh dear. Right. Well, we'll move on to someone who must be exhausted of spreadsheets at the moment. How are you doing, Alec Turner?
Yes, I am sick of spreadsheets. But yes, all my spreadsheeting is done. The last gasp race is over. The championship is over. All the points have been added up. The winners have been announced. We'll probably cover that a bit more later. But
yeah.
Not
that I'm grumbling about it now.
In real life, I have nice, cozy radiators which are ticking along very pleasantly now. So now I've got the lovely job of going round and patching every single wall in the house because most of the old radiators were bigger than the new ones. So there's lots of nice, you know the bits where you couldn't quite put the wallpaper. So there's these sort of exposed bits of wall but I have to say the man box that we all have in our attic or our basement or somewhere has been totally vindicated. So I managed to come up with wallpaper and paint for at least 4 of the 7 walls that I had to patch
matching
up.
Wallpaper and paint.
Yeah, ancient bits of wallpaper that I kept thinking that'll come in handy one day. Ancient old, quarter-full pots of paint that I thought I'll hang on to that'll come in handy one day. Vindicated.
Yeah, because normally if that was happened in this house, it's a complete redecoration.
Yeah. Well, normally it's like, I'll throw that out. You're never going to use it again. And I thought I've just kept it tucked away, and they've all come in. So I'm feeling very pleased with myself.
Oh, smug mode.
Indeed. And yeah, in game, actually, I sort of, because I wasn't really taking part in the last race, I was only marking it anyway. I've turned my back on civilization and run for a bit of solitude. So I saw, when did this go up? On September 25th, Commander Mar Dante Soloist posted this beautiful ice wall that he'd visited. It was just this fantastic ridge. I mean, it wasn't actually a crater, but it was this sort of ridge that went around in almost like an enclosing wall of a medieval settlement or something. So I decided I would go out. So even though it was 8,000 light years out of the bubble, I just thought, what the hell? Let's just go and have a look at this ice canyon. So I spent a few days following the neutron superhighway.
Mm-hmm.
Got there this morning, and I've realised because he doesn't have the coordinates, looking for this ice canyon is quite a big job.
I don't suppose you can ask.
Well,
question.
Well, someone from, I think LCU from Canon pointed out that every time you take a screenshot, it creates a journal event. So should, in theory, have been in his journal, but apparently he didn't use the in-game screenshot facility. He used something external. So I suspect all hope of of coordinates is lost. But I'm having a great time, actually. It is a very beautiful planet. And it's one of these things where from a certain altitude, you sort of fly over it and you think, oh, there's nothing like this feature anywhere. But then when you get below a certain altitude, you suddenly realize there's things like this feature everywhere. It is spectacular. I'm not sure I'll ever find the one he found, but I've found lots to see, so I might spend a few days here. And it's lovely. It's quiet. There's no races. There's nobody else around.
You're just chilling.
I am. I'm just chilling. It's lovely.
Right. Well, let's see. Unfortunately, I have had no in-game experience this week at all, mostly because I had to go up to Scotland at the weekend to look after certain legal issues and stuff to do with my mother, which is, don't think we'll go into right here. However, one thing I did do over the weekend was I did manage to slip in one stream, which was a retro stream going from Elite, Frontier First Encounter, Frontier, and then Frontier First Encounters, mostly partly to do with research for this topic that we're looking at, and to really try and find out whether or not I actually enjoyed playing the old games. And surprisingly enough, I still enjoy playing the original Elite. I was playing the Amiga version, which I've got problems with, but it's a perfectly good version. But then I played Frontier and First Encounters, and I must admit, although I love the game world, I had real trouble with the flight model, which was surprising because one of my favorite games, I really do like Newtonian physics, but this one, I found it difficult, and I was there thinking, surely it's not this hard. Crash.
I was going to say, there is a video on YouTube. I need to share it with you. I think it's Frontier Fundamentals was the title. Once I watched that, it completely changed my view of how combat worked in Frontier.
Yeah, I've actually seen the same.
You've seen it?
I've seen the same thing. It's done. Oh, I can't remember the gentleman's name. I do subscribe to him because he does a lot of retro stuff. Yeah, this just in: Elite fan still likes Elite. Yes, completely true. But yeah, it's you've got to thank Andy J and John Jordan for actually putting stuff in those games, because there's the original version, and then the fans took it over when it seemed that Frontier wasn't doing anything new with them, and they put in more control methods. So there's lateral thrusters, so that makes the game a little bit better because you can do circle strafing and things like that. But I don't know. It's just, I thought it was too scientific, which means that when I come back to Elite Dangerous, it feels right because it's a good combination of what I found good in the original game, yet it's also got all the universe that I liked in the other games. Alec.
I was just going to say, flight assist off is funny, isn't it? I don't know if how many of the crew here are now sort of regular or permanent flight assist off, but I've been using it more and more. This ice, searching this planet for this ice crater, one of my favorite things to do now in the game is just to actually turn all the HUD off as well. So it's not so busy, and then go flight assist off, and then basically just float across the surface. And apart from obviously keeping yourself stable, you sort of tap the up thruster occasionally on a low G world just to keep yourself sort of floating. It's a great way to look for plants and just generally to explore planets. It's so relaxing, but it's weird when you go back to turning flight assist on. It feels very not gamey exactly.
It feels restrictive.
Yeah, I mean the movement's not that pleasant. The movement in flight assist off is just really pleasant. There's something really nice about it when you get the hang of it. And flight assist off.
Because what I do like about the fact that the flight assist off over the previous version in say First Encounters is that you still have the full range of movement. I know that they've restricted the speed basically for gameplay purposes, but for some reason it just seems to work. While I found moving back to the older games, which were full Newtonian physics, I found that a little bit too much. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I can see myself getting to a point where I'll almost go completely the other way, and I'll find turning it on such an unpleasant experience that'll be quite nice. I might get there.
So yeah, I mean that's been my week. So we're going to be covering all the usual development news, in-game events. We have a store alert for everybody, and on top of that, we're going to carry on with our ship discussion that we started last week because everyone seemed to like that for some reason. And we've got the usual touch on the community corner stuff as well. So we will start tonight with the development news and what have the devs said this week. Well, the first bit of news is kind of a shame, really, but we're kind of happy and sad at the same time. It looks like Zach is moving on from Elite Dangerous. He is delighted to say that he's now the junior product manager for the F1 game over at Frontier. So he's super excited to get to work with and learn from the building team, the brilliant team on that project, and he's looking forward to it. It's a shame to lose him because Zach's always had good rapport with the community, and he always seems to be a good one to watch on the on the Frameshift Live. Admittedly, they haven't officially said he's left the CM team for Elite Dangerous, but you know, F1 I think will be a full-time gig, to be honest. So we wish him well.
I can't imagine him doing stellar screenshots as well as that, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Zach. Sounds like a good move.
Yeah.
You know.
I was checking the Steam charts for the F1 game. There's still approximately 6,000, 7,000 people playing it every day, and then on top of that, peak players of still 12 to 13,000 every day. So that's doing very well for Frontier. So it's a big game, and there have been people, certain racing drivers, already using the stats that game generates to complement their own engineers. Who would have thought Zach Verstappen was actually mentioning that while driving, which was a bit scary.
I thought that was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's great for
so good for the team as well. Holy crap, for Verstappen to go, I think your rating should be a 90. I enjoyed that more than anything.
Yeah. So yes, it's good to see that they've got traction, and there's a lot of YouTube videos at the moment explaining why the F1 Manager game is actually better than the F1 Simulator game, the latest version, which I found quite amusing, considering my son's desperately trying to get his rankings up with the F1 Simulator game at the moment. So, we'll say ta-ta to Zach for the moment. The Discovery Scanner came out on Monday, and as Sally warned us a couple of weeks ago, it is a bit light. There is the usual irrelevant take with the Galnet news from Paul, so that's always good for a laugh. But apart from that, I'm afraid not much else. The other thing we have noticed is that community events this month are a bit dry. So I think Frontier are requesting, if you've got a community event, please let them know so they can put it on the event viewer. Obviously, Frameshift Live number 18 will be live, and it's going to happen this Wednesday at 5:30. So yeah, they're changing the times again. So I do believe there is going to be another dev interview, but it'll have to be recorded this time. So yeah, 5:15 tomorrow. So yeah,
unusual time. It's Tom, isn't it? Is it Tom Kuehl, I think?
Yes, it is Tom. Psychic?
Yeah, it's weird as well because Stranded Alien Dawn is getting its first stream on the Frontier channel on tomorrow as well from like 4:00, and I thought that was going to be a 2-hour, but it's clearly only going to be a 1 hour because it has to accommodate Frameshift Live as well. So I wonder if it's going to be Stranded and then a 15-minute break and then straight into the Frontier stream, and that's why it's a little later.
Yeah.
But where are you getting that it's going to be a pre-recorded one?
Because basically Tom mentioned it on Twitter.
Oh right, okay. I didn't pay attention to that. I'm just looking at the Discovery scanner.
Yeah, it's sort of said real life got in the way, so he couldn't do a live one. So fair play, but we've got a contribution. Can't complain about a contribution from one of the devs. Good news on the Steam numbers. They're up again. This is the sort of like 4th month in a row. We're now back up to February's levels, and I think it's because the nights are drawing in. And surprisingly, it does seem to be consistent with a lot of other games at this moment. Crash?
I was going to say I blame myself. It's entirely my fault because I streamed off the Steam Deck. So
Right, I see. Yeah, I mean, I don't think my streams count because basically they're always through the Frontier account, not through the Steam account. But we'll have to. I'll have to do something about that at some point. And the other thing that we did miss from last week's discussion was that we found, and we forgot to mention, that as far as the crossplay is concerned between 4.0 Horizons and Odyssey, we have found that CQC players can actually crossplay against each other with Horizons and Odyssey. We forgot to mention that last week. So it does mean that if you play CQC in either Odyssey or Horizons, you will be able to shoot other players. Apparently, that was the last thing that went in. And basically, it was kind of surprised everybody, including everyone in the CQC Discord. So they're actually ecstatic and over the moon, and I think all their events at the moment are in either 4 or Odyssey, which we'll be touching on later. So yeah, okay. In-game events. How about this? Well, on the 28th of September last week, Professor Tesseru, fingers crossed I got that right, announced a bid to reform Aegis. So she went and decided, right, okay, I'm going to call a conference to try and restart the agency. The Federation and the Alliance have sent representatives, and the Empire told them to sod off, which was, yeah, that didn't work out too well. And the Thargoids retreated from the 3 systems that they attacked, to which Senator Petraeus sort of said, this looks like they were just testing our defenses. They're just seeing what we can throw back at them. He didn't think it was a serious attack. Well, they'll tell that to all the fatalities that happened in that system. And of course, as expected, as predicted, Aesakit, the federal forces have now targeted the true chapters.
Who saw it coming?
I don't know. You must be psychic.
I mean, nothing could have ever prepared us for that to happen.
They must have listened to Lave Radio and thought, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
It certainly wasn't signalled everywhere.
No. So basically, that is the current CG, which is basically kick some religious nutters. I think the godless feds are off to kill religious nutters. So, yep, let's see how that goes. Federal forces. The delivery campaign to help fund the Imperial charity worked. So that means we got a lot of sloshed Imperials who managed to raise a lot of money. That's the best way that Imperials do, actually, raise money, by getting drunk. And of course, Senator Petraeus has also warned of further Thargoid strikes. So the militaries for the Alliance, the Empire, and the Federation have started to prepare for more alien incursions. Apparently, on the 30th of September, they claimed that the FSS has been upgraded to help track the Stargoids, or the unidentified interstellar anomalies, as they are alleged to have been called. The only problem with that is that a lot of people were there looking at the FSS rather, to try and work out what had changed. And I must admit, I'm a little bit confused by that one myself.
Yeah, I think the entire galaxy is confused. What's changed?
Yeah, and they said there was a firmware upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my experience of firmware upgrades. Yeah. And then on top of that, on the 3rd of October, the conference began, making the case for Aegis, where a lot of people were basically discussing what was wrong with the agency, what they could have done better, and the fact that instead of shooting bad alien scum, they were also thinking of ways to actually talk to bad alien scum, which seemed to go down like a ton of bricks. And then finally, there was drama today at said conference where D2, the poor person who Azimuth experimented on to get to fly Thargoid spaceships, basically turned up at the conference and said, I need help. You're the only one I can talk to, Professor. And ominously warned that nothing will stop what's coming for us. So Psychit, I will let you unleash.
It's so exciting. It's like I obviously wasn't streaming Elite today, but I got like 4 people coming to my chat and went, you need to read it, you need to read it, you need to stop everything and read it now. Oh my god, it's so good. It's such the drama. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten involved in a little bit of a debate on our channel and also on the Burr Pit, where we were there thinking, well, surely that disproves this theory that D2 and the first apostle, who's this person who's in charge of the new Far God extremists, are the same person.
Yes, I agree, absolutely, but I don't think it proves it. I think it proves the opposite, which is great, because I really didn't like that. I really didn't like seeing that idea bandied about. I didn't think it had legs, and it was getting legs, and I was disappointed. And I feel like the fact that she's not described as that, and she's a little bit more seems a little bit more disheveled and not holding it together, and not like, oh crap, the Thargoids, they should be our friends. It's, oh crap, the Thargoids are coming and I know what's going to happen. It's not the same. It's not the same vibe. We could obviously be mistaken, and they could be playing the long game. But I would be very surprised.
Yeah, one thing I did like about this is the fact that she turned up practically in rags. That implies that she's been on the run from either anybody who wants to silence her, which could range from any of the intelligence agencies to certainly Azimuth will have got a target on her back. I mean, obviously, it's the one person that would probably be willing to hear from her would be the professor from Aegis, which it's good to see these things line up.
Yeah.
There was one interesting theory where they did say that, okay, she might not be controlling the Stargoids, because there was a theory going around where she was controlling the Stargoids, but they could be homing in on her. It's like it.
Yeah, but potentially, I don't know why. I'm not entirely sure why they would be, because it's my understanding that the technology that they put into her to make her interface better. They might just want to use her as some sort of communication device at the end of the day, some sort of pawn to bridge that gap so that they can communicate successfully, because their technology is clearly vastly superior to anything that we have. The one thing that Katie has said in chat now, and it's also like mentioned to me earlier, said, why didn't Tessero recognize her straight away? And it's a possibility that it was a could all of their correspondence have been via email or something like that,
There doesn't
or
seem to
digital?
be, yeah, there doesn't seem to be any communication between them before. She just
Oh
turned up
yes, there
and said,
was, because didn't Tessero release the logs from D2 or release the information from D2? Am I misremembering that?
"Ooh, I don't know." I remember the logs being released, but I don't think they were from Professor Tessero. I thought they were just leaked in general, but by the pilot that rescued D2. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how that unfolds. Alec, there was something else about another news item that we missed.
Yeah. So I can't remember where I saw this actually. I think it was a tweet from the Burrs initially, but yeah, if you head out to I think it's like iBeco system, which is AIBIKO, something like that. There's a new beacon, which is something like the Joy Sen ice log beacon. And if you go out there and scan it, you get 3 really quite nice audio logs. They're in a very different style from a lot of previous ones. It's like it's actually Joy Sen sort of doing an interview, and it's like a kind of pop culture, very sort of chatty chat show kind of. It's quite fun. And you get some pro Thargoid decals as well. I think quite a few of us have got them already. I don't think they're brand new, but yeah, you get some free decals and 3 really nice audio logs out there. So.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber called Ricardo's Gaming. He's done he's managed to capture that. Where
I
he's
went
gone
and got
up.
it. It was good. It was easy. It's not that far, and yeah, good listen.
Yeah, excellent. Now the Stargoids themselves, they are creeping closer, and so far I think everybody's agreeing that it's beginning to look like Sol is the main target. So unless they suddenly break off and head in different directions, which they possibly could do, we're looking at maybe a Thargoid major incursion into the heart of humanity itself. Personally, I hope they don't waste the Sol system.
Bubble burn, bubble burn.
It's funny. I've often thought, like, people still hold out hope that one day we can land on Earth or things like that. I've often thought that's incredibly difficult. I mean, suddenly you've got to start putting Google Earth into the game, or Flight Sim. Or, a much easier thing is just to blow the thing up.
Which is exactly what they did in Frontier First Encounters.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when Frontier First Encounters first came out, they couldn't model the Earth using the new engine, so they just said there'd been a natural catastrophe and the entire thing was brown, and that's why the capital had moved to Mars. Crash?
Yeah, I was going to say, you beat me to it by a second.
Oh,
but
sorry.
Yeah. No worries. I think was it environmental pollution or something like that? It was like it was covered in smog, wasn't it? It was like you couldn't see anything until you got close enough that the number of polygons didn't matter. But yeah, I mean that is an interesting way of doing it. It's like we eventually get to land on the Earth and the Moon, and they're just desolate wastelands with no atmosphere. So hey.
Yeah, but I think that's a shame, because one of the first things that people do when they get into the game is they go and visit Sol, and just flying around the home planets. Just it kind of brings home the majesty of this game in some ways, because you can literally fly around our little blue ball and then head out to Saturn and Jupiter, which NASA scientists themselves have said that they're really impressed with the way that Frontier have rendered the planets and the orbital mechanics that they've included. So yeah, it's I think if they go and burn Mars, I'm not bothered about Mars, but if they leave Earth alone, I'd be quite happy. But well, who's to say? You can all blame salvation. Meanwhile, Crash, you're just running away.
You damn right. I'm already jumping the carrier. It's
So I think it's that time of week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
Well, welcome back. Now, we have to celebrate the fact that one of the prettiest ships in the game is getting some paint jobs. I'm being sarcastic. It is the Federal Assault Ship, the brick of space, which, I don't know, I think it's only the T7, which in my opinion looks uglier than this. Yeah, it's getting some nice pretty paint jobs. We've got some blue ones, we've got gold ones, green ones, the obligatory pink one, red and teal. Yeah. I must admit, the Federal Assault Ship is not my favourite. I've never really found a use for it. Has anybody else actually either fly that ship or find these paint jobs appealing?
Yeah, kind of. This is going way back, but does anyone remember one of the really famous YouTubers? Who was it? Was it Ascorbius or it wasn't Ascorbius? Who was it? Somebody put out about 6 years ago, maybe more, a really nice video on how to do a base assault with a Federal Assault Ship. You know, it was sort of when we first learned you could basically rain down missiles, and I went out and bought one immediately, specifically to do that, and it was good fun actually. I haven't used
Well,
it since, I don't think.
Yeah, I suppose Assault Ship is in the title.
I'm not sure about this paint job. Well, some of them are right, but the pink one's just like, no, why would you mix pink with that brick?
The pink brick. Crash?
Yeah, I do like the operator red one actually. That's very much my bag. I like
Yeah.
a little bit of camo in there, black and red. So that's quite nice. I think I might get the FAS set of mothballs and.
Yeah, that looks very Imperial actually. You know, as in Star Wars Imperial. Yeah. Psychic.
Yeah, I quite like the pink one, with the exception of the fact that I'd like it on a different ship, obviously. But I'd also quite like the pink accents on the operator red. I don't know if I like the purple camo, but it's nice. It's all right. I learned how to do combat in a Federal Assault Ship because there wasn't a Chieftain or a Mark II, and I couldn't afford anything else, and I learnt combat in it, and I had so much fun. Combat's my favorite thing in the game, and it's probably because of the Federal Assault Ship.
Wow. I fair enough. I can't dispute the fact that you had fun. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that the red actually reminds them a bit of the Russian Anti from The Expanse a bit, which yeah, I can see where they're coming from. Crash?
Do you know, that was in the back of my mind. I think I was going to say that, but I was like, no. But yeah, definitely. I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Maybe I should give the Federal Assault Ship another try, but it just doesn't appeal. Maybe I just maybe got. I enjoyed my cutter too much. Well, no, my clipper too much, especially when it got engineered. So I never went back to any of the Federal ships. So anyway, right, we will move on from there. So we will come back with our main discussion after we've had these messages.
Hey, why you messing around with those other handheld toys? Do people still look at you like you're a little spaceman with a ray gun in your pocket? You want guns? We got guns. How much guns do you need? Kinematic weapons, assault rifles, SMGs, rocket launchers, and even a pistol so your mom can feel safe. We were founded in 3240. We've been maiming people since before you were born. It's been clinically proven that nothing shreds through skin like a kinematic weapon. Conquer all!
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
Have you been missold PPI? Python Protection Insurance was missold if you didn't want it, ask for it, or need it.
I was missold Python Protection Insurance and I got a claim worth 3,000 credits.
At Cowell & McGrath, we are ready to pursue claims for pilots who were sold PPI, even though they didn't have an escape pod.
When my partner's ship was destroyed, the insurance became invalid. I settled out of court for enough credits to restart my narcotics and weapons shipping business.
Millions have been missold Python Protection Insurance they can never claim, simply because they don't have an escape pod. Why should you pay for not reading the small print?
My husband was missold PPI. As a result of our claim, we now own Jupiter.
Cowell & McGrath, turning your carelessness into profitable lawsuits.
And welcome back. Well, last week was a bit of a surprise because we didn't expect going through the old ship models to take so long. But we're about a third of the way through the list. So, as we did last week, we're going through all the the ships from the older games to see whether or not there's actually a place for them in Elite Dangerous themselves. Because as a big thread appeared on the forums saying that it'd been something like 4 years since the last ship was put in. So we're looking through to see whether or not they would work. We've had a couple of surprises. People really wanted the interplanetary shuttle, which, yep, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with people, but we're going to carry on. We got as far as the letter I. Cheer up, everybody. There's a long way to go yet. Now, the first one that I wanted to discuss with people was the Imperial Explorer. Now, this one came from Frontier First Encounters. As you can imagine, it has a massive jump range. It uses a Class 8 hyperdrive, which is one of the biggest in the old game. It isn't all that maneuverable, but it is a massive ship, and it looks like, how should we put this? It looks like you've taken the USS Enterprise, but instead of the saucer section being above the nacelles, they've put the saucer section upside down and it's below the nacelles. I'm sure there's actually a Starfleet vessel that's exactly like it, but yeah. What do What do you think to having an Imperial Explorer that looks kind of like a Federation vessel? Everybody, we'll start with Crash.
You read my mind as I was looking at the picture. I was like, yeah, that just looks like how the Enterprise was almost accidentally made before they flipped it. Yeah. So yeah, it's I mean, interesting. I would like to see a larger ship on the Explorer side for sure. I think that's something which the game is kind of lacking at the moment in terms of specialization of ships. You've got a lot of multi-purpose ships across the entire kind of backbone, small, medium, large. But in terms of a large ship that would be good for exploration, that would be a nice one. And certainly that kind of luxury liner sort of Enterprise D sort of look to it. I think that could work. Yeah, I wouldn't mind one of those.
Okay. What about you, Alec?
I think it's interesting. Definitely, I've seen people calling out for a large exploration ship. So this would fill that niche. I guess being Imperial, it would be. It's hard to imagine looking at the picture I'm looking at now, but I imagine it would be pretty. And one key feature of an exploration ship is you want to be able to put it in front of things and take screenshots. So hopefully it would be very good at that. The only downside is that as an explorer, one thing you want to do is land on planets, and big ships are not very good at that, especially if you're trying to land on top of a very thin ridge of ice.
Very true, but then again, remember Voyager could land on a planet.
True. I guess what we need is from last week. What we need is to be able to deploy the landing shuttle. There you go.
Yes, we want the interplanetary shuttle in the ship so we can land the and just leave it an object.
And the SRV in the shuttle. There we go.
That sounds great.
It's so funny. It's really funny looking and I love it. I want it. I want when it lands, I want the little the nasal bits to swing round so it sits like a tripod.
So basically, it's kind of like a swing wing with the things come down as the line.
I just think it's so funny and I love it. It's such a silly design. It looks like it's got a Jar Jar Binks sort of face. If you were looking at it head on, it's got its little eyes at the top and then like a big nose. I love it so much. It needs to be in the game. Please put it in the game frontier. Thank you. But aside from that, it's okay.
Have we lost Colin?
I think we might have lost Colin.
Have we really?
I mean, I'm not the best person to talk about the rest of the ships because I don't really know the rest of the ships. And it feels remiss of me to not be told exactly what these ships are like by Colin. It's funny though. That's a funny looking ship. And I feel that there's definitely a gap in the market for funny looking ships in Elite.
Well, yeah, like I said last week, I think the niche, I think the need for new ships is just to make them look different. Give people options in how their ships look.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with what you said. I didn't think of it at all. But yeah, landing with a larger ship though, that's going to be a pain. So we definitely.
Tricky. Yeah, and if you're doing exobiology, then quite often you need to land in fairly rough terrain. And the thing I've gone out in now is just a crate, and even that is a little bit too big for some of the landings I'm trying to do.
I find that. I mean, just going around with the ASP, and it was a planet I was looking around on last night, and it was only like 0.3 G, but the terrain features on it, there was such depth to it. I don't think I've ever seen a planet with that low gravity, but with the actual craters with a significant depth, with like very vertical edges, which I thought was very, very strange formation. I don't recall seeing one like that, but it was a pain. It was absolutely a pain with a medium-sized ship just to land on. So yeah, we would need some kind of shuttle mechanism there.
Either that or the other thing I've wanted for ages is the ability to drop an SRV from low altitude rather than actually having to land.
I wanted that so bad. Ever since I saw the first prototype of it, and I just like, oh, it's just all of these things come into my head. Oh, we could do this, we can do that, and that was one of the things that I wanted to try immediately, and when it wasn't possible.
I feel like it would be so easy to implement. I mean, you'd only allow it below. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have to put an altitude on it, but if they wanted to, they could say you can only deploy it below, I don't know, 500 meters, and you get a warning if you do, and it says, "Warning, are you sure you want to drop it?"
Yeah. Are you sure it's 2.25 or 2.5 Gs here? You're gonna crater the second you drop.
It screams for like team gameplay as well, like that playing together that Frontier really want us to do. There's got to be something really. There's got to be a race in it somewhere, where you can just sort of like race out and then drop another racer in a buggy going full whack, aiming to hit somewhere.
I love it. I love it. Shall we? Do you think we should press on down the list in Colin's absence?
Absolutely, by all means. We're moving on to the Imperial Trader. Anyone got any information on this before?
I know a little bit. I mean, I lack a little bit on the first encounter ships, but definitely for the Frontier Elite 2 ships, I could name them all probably still from memory. So this was the kind of 3 nacelle upgrade over the Imperial Courier. Larger ship, more cargo capacity, obviously based on the name of it. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a good fun ship to fly. It was nice when you got to that level in the game and you could upgrade it. I do feel though that the Clipper kind of takes that position already. I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a slot for it where we stand right now.
Is this not just as well as being like a sort of 3 nacelle redesign of the Courier? Is it significantly bigger than the Imperial Courier then?
It was quite a bit larger, yeah. I think looking at the other one, I mean, what's this one? It's payload of 525 tons. I think the Courier is around 200 to 300, I believe. I'll have to go check that now. I can remember the names off the top of my head, but remembering all the stats is a little push. But yeah, it was a nice upgrade when you got to it. So there you go, 350 tons on the Courier.
That's the thing is, this is one of the ships when we first discussed about doing this, and I was like, oh God, I'm not going to know any of these ships. I'm not going to know absolutely anything. You're just going to be talking to me about all of the ships and what's going on, and I would just be like, I don't have a Scooby's what you're on about. The Imperial Trader is one I actually recognize because people have sung its praises to me before, like outside of this. I agree that it doesn't look right. It doesn't like feel like it would fit a role or anything along those lines. However, it does look pretty.
Yeah,
it is nothing.
Is it my imagination, or is the Imperial Trader the ship that's in the very famous like intro sequence? You know, the little
that I believe that was the Courier. Yeah, it was Courier versus 2 Eagles in the.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm not aware of that. That must be before my time.
I think you would know the cliff I mean if you saw it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it's nice. I mean, I could see it possibly if there is space for it in Elite Dangerous, it would be fitting somewhere in the medium ships because I don't think we've got an equivalent ship Imperial wise there. I mean, the Courier's small, the Clipper goes up into the large. So maybe having something with a more compact footprint with that 3rd nacelle above to keep the kind of classic style of it. I think that could fit as a medium ship. I can't see a specific role for it though. I think it would be a kind of an all-purpose ship, and I would struggle to find a role that it would fill.
And it would just gather dust somewhere.
Yeah.
Its design does give me one other thought. I mean, it slightly reminds me of, I'm going to get this wrong, one of the Thunderbirds, the Space Thunderbird. The orange one with the 3 kind of nacelles that looks more like a traditional rocket. But What I was thinking was, and we don't have this in Elite yet, we have some ships that animate on landing, like the Chieftain, and the DBX does a little thing. It'd be quite cool to have a ship that rotates 90 degrees on landing and lands on its backside.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually.
Yeah, interesting. And then I was trying to think whether I would want the cockpit to rotate, or whether it would actually be quite fun if you literally landed on your back. So that when you landed, you were looking up into space. I mean, there's no inherent problem with that. It'd be quite interesting. Hard to do manually, I suppose.
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things I was so pleased that I managed it. I didn't realize it was possible, but I actually did do it once. I think the stream VOD is long since gone, but I was flying the Lion Trader, I think it was, in FE2 on stream on a very high G world. And if I was just in a normal horizontal position, I was just dropping. So I tilted backwards and landed on the rear of the ship. I didn't think that was possible, but because I was going so slowly, it let me do it. And I managed to land facing vertically. I was so pleased with that. I was like, wow. And I was impressed that the physics actually calculated it correctly. I was expecting to just explode on impact, but it actually worked.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you reckon? Kestrel Air Fighter? Should we plough on? Colin's going to murder us when he gets back.
Colin's going to be like, I need to know what you talked about and what your thoughts were about
You're
everything.
just making it up, Colin. We've got no idea what these ships
We
are.
don't know.
I should try and fill the boots of the old grey.
Well, it's the Kestrel Air Fighter then. This looks like another one of our atmospheric planets. Atmospheric ships.
Yeah, I remember playing with one of these for a while, actually. I think, candid admission, pretty sure that I used the exploit to hollow it out and make the internal storage capacity like thousands of tons, so I could fit all kinds of crazy equipment to it. But yeah, it was a great little fighter. I could see it as being something that would work as a ship launch fighter, maybe. The size of it, it's just, again, like you said, it was designed as almost like a suborbital fighter.
Yeah, I mean, it's is this a larger or smaller version of the Falcon? And I think we covered the Falcon last week.
Was it
Smaller.
20?
So the
Yeah.
Falcon is a larger and faster.
Yeah. The Kestrel, and I think the Hawk as well was very, very similar. Very, very tiny little fighter ships. Quite difficult to actually achieve anything in game with them. They were very, very, very limited with the gun mounting and whatnot. I think they were fixed to military drives. You couldn't install anything else, and that was mainly because of the internal storage. Its capacity. There was no way you were going to fit like a Class 1 hyperdrive in it. But,
the description I'm reading says describes it as somewhat of a sports car of ships, fast but not particularly comfortable or practical, which makes me think of the Mamba a little bit. And I wonder if this falls into a similar slot.
Oh, it was this was tiny though. This is what I mean. I think well, we don't really have stats on the size of it, but I imagine this thing is being somewhere closer to like the Taipan fighter. It's a tiny little thing, smaller than an Eagle for sure.
Right. Oh, empty mass 20 tons. That's
tiny little thing, but great fun.
Stinky then.
Yeah,
it does look fun.
It's
amazingly responsive. It was so much fun to play with, but like I said, totally impractical. You couldn't do anything else with it.
Can you hear me now?
Oi, we have a Colin back.
Yeah, I do apologize. My for some reason my PC has completely gone bananas, and I'm having to do this over my phone.
You can tell by the echo.
He's on the toilet, really. He just desperately.
Yeah.
He's coming to us from Frontier First Encounters. He's transported back to the 80s.
Oh dear! And if the voice is echoing quite badly, I might have to. Yeah.
I like it. Got a retro feel to it. It's highly appropriate.
It's wild. I would recommend trying with your other device. So honestly, because that's it's very echoey.
Right. Okay, I will try again. This is just ridiculous. This is.
Oh dear.
Well,
oh dear.
in the meantime,
Colin's the expert.
I think we can cover the Crate Mark 1, can't we? I mean, it's like the Cobra Mark 1.
This is the strange thing about what they did with the Mark II when it was added. See, the Crate was a much smaller ship in the earlier games. It was more of a kind of a single person small fighter. I mean, you can see from the stats on there, it's only about double the size of the Kestrel. You know, it was a tiny little ship, and not really designed for much else other than fighting. And then when obviously they introduced the Mark II into Elite Dangerous, they went completely the other side of things and made it a medium size, all-purpose ship that can do a bit of everything. So yeah, a bit of an oddity in the Elite world, how they jumped from it being one type of ship to a completely different thing.
I'm back.
Hey,
is that
We were
better?
it's a lot better. We were just talking about the Crate Mark 1,
Oh,
Colin. So
God.
you haven't missed much.
Oh god, the Crate Mark 1. Yeah, that was basically a hunk of junk, wasn't it? It was always, you used to get attacked constantly by a couple of crates and a couple of sidewinders, and they tried to overwhelm you in packs, and we thought, oh, it must be a decent ship, and then when they actually got to fly it in front of your first encounters, you went, oh, no wonder they were so easy to kill. But the Crate Mark II, I think, well, it's pretty close to a perfect all-rounder ship, the Crate Mark II. So
I think we all love it. I know Arthur's sick of it, but there's a reason why we all go on about it so much. It is nice.
yeah,
I had a thought for these things like the Crate Mark 1 and the Cobra Mark 1 that we covered last week.
Mhm.
They could put the shell in the game without bothering to go through the trouble of working out the cockpit, so it's not a flyable ship. But we could have crashed Crate Mark 1s, or you know, some of the I'm trying to think. Some of the engineer bases have a load of wrecks scattered around the outskirts of the base. We could have a whole load of Crate Mark 1 wrecks at a junkyard or something.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Imagine if they started doing that with like a new ship that was coming in the game, and they've been teasing a new ship for weeks of this new ship being in the game by putting wrecks of it everywhere, and nobody's noticed. Imagine that. Imagine nobody noticed. This is great. Oh, well, we've been teasing it for weeks. What are you talking about?
Or there's some amazing new ship that slowly gets more and more built up at an engineer's base. You know.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Every month it gets a little bit more finished off.
Yeah. Well, moving. Okay.
That's right.
The Crate. I mean, I think we're happy with the Crate Mark II. I don't think we need the Crate Mark 1, do we?
It was a good little ship.
It was a good little ship if it was a flying coffin. Oh, the first thing you'd do after getting a Crate Mark 1 was sell it and get a Cobra Mark 3.
So a bit like a bit like the adder then.
Again, go wash your mouth out with soap and water. Right. Well, on the subject of ships that need basically flushing, we have the Lana and the Lana 2. Now, I must admit, when I looked at these, I just even the reviewer can't stand them. I don't even remember even flying them. Both are basically about Cobra Mark 3 sizes, and I quote, verdict, not typically a ship you'd want to keep long term, and it isn't going to win any beauty contests either. To which it says, very poor rotation speed, very poor engines, very poor missile capacity, very poor price, very poor design, very poor frontal cross section, and very poor attempt at a ship. Its acceleration was 8G, which was horrendous compared to the Panther Clipper, which was a massive battleship of a ship, and that had 6G. The only advantage of it is basically if you put a big enough hyperdrive in it, it could go far. But you could do nothing else with it, really.
Sounds like the perfect racer.
Except it's got very poor rotational speed and very poor engine.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you. You must have misheard me. I said it sounds like the perfect racer after you gave me all that information.
Maybe we should make it the regulation class ship for next
I'm
year.
down. I'm down. Totally down.
Hardcore mode.
Well, if you didn't like that one, then you could always try the Lana Mark II, which basically said it's a bit prettier, but there's not much else to say. In fact, it says there wasn't anything good about the Lana for the Lana 2 to actually improve on.
Do we think the person who wrote this might not have liked the Lana? I don't know where I'm getting that from.
Yep, I completely agree. Considering its disadvantage, the Lana 2 takes everything that was bad about the Lana and makes it worse.
Change your mind. That's the new regulation ship for next
Yeah,
year.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does look like it did actually have a centripetal artificial gravity generator. In other words, a rotation section in the middle. But apparently, if you pulled high G in that, it broke. It's like it's always got me about having those kind of rotating sections in a ship. So that means you're flying along but spinning round at the same time. Oh God, you'd throw up. As long as if you looked out the window, surely.
Yeah. Not many pros versus the cons there. So
No. Well, moving on from pros and cons to something which I think for some reason Ben would probably like, we have the lifter. Now, the lifter was an unpowered, well, it didn't have a hyperdrive, so basically it was in system only, and its entire purpose was just to lift up big heavy cargo canisters and drop them off somewhere else. So can you kind of think a heavier version of the interplanetary shuttle?
loved the lifter, loved it. It was completely useless. You couldn't hyperspace anywhere. It was just it was just like a challenge ship, wasn't it? It's just like, can I do anything useful with this thing? You know?
Yeah, all you could do was basically take 7 tons of cargo from one planetary port to another.
Barely make any profit in the process, but yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved the little rotating engine designs. It was almost like a tiny little baby version of the Panther Kipper. You know, it was like the teeny tiniest version of that. But where I see that as being a great spot in the game is if we could have more like NPC ships, like unflyable ships, just little things going around ports, just doing their business. Not necessarily, because we were mentioning that with one of the earlier ones there, not necessarily a cockpit and all that laid out in it, just little traffic, little bit of background noise.
Yeah, good point, because it's much easier. Well, I'm guessing much easier to design an unflyable ship. Yeah, point actually.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about anything like where the internals are going to go, which I do know they have worried about, because you can see where the sometimes when there's a bug where if another ship lands on you and it doesn't crash, if you see what I mean, then you can see the inside of that ship, and you can see where the cockpit is and where the SRV bay is, and they're different in all the ship designs I've seen so far. So they've kind of planned the layout, they just haven't been able to implement it.
Yeah. One thing I'm curious about with the lifter from the picture I'm looking at, does it put its cargo kind of on the outside? You know, there's some mega ships, and they literally have like the big sort of cargo containers strapped in sort of 8x3 chunks of sort of almost like a cage full of. Is that how it works? It's just on the outside.
Yeah,
Great.
it's exactly that. They basically strap. It reminds me a little bit of the what was it? The Eagle spaceship from Space 1999.
Yes.
Yes. Where you had big cargo canisters, and if you got rid of the cargo canister, the Eagle was just basically this how shall I put it, wire-framed lattice with engines and a cockpit. So basically, the pods would be all different that these things could carry. But people love that blooming ship. But the elite equivalent doesn't look great.
I don't think it would be a very useful player ship, but definitely as like little kind of background scenery things you can imagine around a settlement or something. It's hopping from a construction site and back, bringing equipment and stuff. I think it would be great as a little flavor thing.
Yeah, I love it. That would look good, wouldn't it?
Right, well, moving on to the next one, which is the Lion. Now, this thing reminds me of the T7, the way that it's kind of spec'd. So basically, it would be a medium to large trader, very lightly armed, about as maneuverable as a brick, and as slow as a brick. But it looks, unlike the T7, apparently it will look nice. It says on this one, the Lion is slow, underarmed, underpowered, and underranged, and lacks a bottom turret. Also, firing the top turret can damage the ship.
Yes, I did that.
Out again.
Not one again. It reminds me of that bit in Indiana Jones where as you fired the turret, you took out the back of the plane. It says that its cross section from any angle is large and easy to score a hit on, but when an assassination target is flying a Lion, the assassin has a very easy time of it. Verdict: great ship as long as it's your assassination target. So
it was a fun little ship, and I think going back to the time I was playing around on stream with it, I think I challenged myself to take it out exploring, which was terrible at. It was absolutely terrible at. But yeah, it was a fun little ship, but I really don't see a place for that in Elite Dangerous, other than the TN as a scrapyard, maybe.
She dummy thick. That's what you're saying, yeah.
What we should do, all the rejects as we go down the list. It's like, right, send that one to Tia Nisler.
Off you go.
Very true, very true. Right, next up we have the Mantis, which I'm unfamiliar with, but yes, this one was designed by the ancestors of the present engineer Turner in Alioth, and basically it looks like sort of a kind of brick, but instead of engines at the back, you've got this big ball thing. It's kind of like the third biggest ship in Frontier First Encounters. It's a big trader, or so the equivalent of maybe a T9, but really short range. Of course, it'll have really bad maneuverability. It does seem to have a couple of decent. Well, it's actually quite heavily armed with at least 4 gun mounting. So you'd have. I'd imagine quite a few turrets protecting you, more than the T9 does. Do you think we need another trader like that?
I can't see a place for that. I mean, particularly with the shape and the design of it, with that. I mean, it's got back. I'll give it that with that big sphere on the rear.
I have to ask, I don't know if anyone knows, because the wiki doesn't reveal anything. But what was the ball?
The ball was the engine.
Wow.
I got no idea about the ball. It's just like, okay, we're kind of running out of ideas here. I know, let's put a ball on the back of the ship.
I feel like that entire design was around about the time they were experimenting with different methods of drawing primitive shapes in the engine. It's like, wow, we can use this now. Let's put a sphere in because we
They
can.
came up with a new sphere drawing algorithm. It's like, we've got to get this in the game.
Got to squeeze it in.
Well, actually, that was something interesting in Frontier First Encounters, wasn't it? Because they were able to render curves really well in that engine. It's well ahead of its time.
Fancy.
Yeah, it was really clever. Basic curves on it. Yeah, I feel like this one is just going to get in the mail slot, ball deep. man.
It's just imagine if you could get the entire ship in, but you couldn't get the ball through the slot.
Did you?
That's what she
Oh
said.
my god! I want to get pulled deep in that mail slot.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
The only pickup line if ever I've had one.
There's very select clubs where that might work, you know.
Episode title right there.
All deep in the mail slot.
There we go.
Yeah, that's certainly keep Ben happy with it.
Ben's gonna be like, I cannot believe I missed that episode.
Oh dear. Right. Yes. Well, let's try and get a little bit of decorum back, shall we? Right. On to a favourite of one of our ex-presenters, the Merlin. Now, this is actually quite a famous ship, due to the fact that the Merlin is the ship that Commander Jarvis, or Commander Thane rather, flies in escape velocity. Now, originally, I thought it must be a fantastic ship, the way that it was portrayed. However, when you actually see it, God, it's ugly. It is absolutely. It's got similar performance to the Cobra as far as maneuverability is concerned, but it's a lot lighter armed, and it doesn't carry as much in the way of weapons. But yes, and it's decent. It's not the best, and it's got a tri-wing design. The problem is it looks great from the side, but from the front, oh, it's like it hit every ugly asteroid on the way in. Crash.
It's got some interesting things. I mean, look at it. It's rotationally symmetric three-wing design, but like you said, but when it lands, I didn't notice that the wings actually splay out to make room for the landing gear to come down and for it to land flat, which is interesting. I've got to admit, I don't recall actually trying that ship out, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Alan and Chris why they chose the Merlin, because you would have thought if they were doing a ship, doing the radio play about Elite Dangerous, they would have chosen a Cobra. Maybe a Cobra would have been too obvious, but I know Chris has got a soft spot for the tri-wing design because he's a big fan of Blake 7, but
was the protagonist not rich enough to afford a Cobra? I can't.
Well,
can't
this
remember now.
is pretty much a cheap wreck of a ship, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably, well, he stole it. And if you spoiler alert for Escape Velocity, but yeah, it's Commander Thane stole this ship in order to escape the life he was leading. But yeah,
I like it.
well, you should actually have a look at the design in EDRPG. What made me laugh was that Oliver thought, oh my god, it thought like me listening to Escape Velocity, thought the Merlin must be fantastic because the way it comes across on the radio play, and so they've put it in the EDRPG, and he was looking through it and went, I don't know why I put it in. It just looks so bad.
I don't know, like a reskin for Elite Dangerous, like a small ship like that, which, from what you're describing to me, it sploots when it goes to land and kicks its back end out like a little puppy when it does its legs backwards. I'm quite.
It spreads.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I think it's still quite cool. It's like a different design. Maybe they could rework it a little bit so it's more feasible as a ship. But it might be like another alternative. I talked about like an alternative to Imperial ships that wasn't the Viper last week, something like that. But maybe another one like that, another like alternative small ship, because small ships are a very good way forward in Odyssey, and it's kind of lacking.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with the small ships, because the small ships are. I'm having a lot more fun in Odyssey since moving down to a small ship. I mean, it's okay in the it's okay in the ASP, but once I've moved, oh good grief, that's so bad if someone misheard that, but
I won't judge.
But someone is going to re-edit that. I just know it. But having moved down to the Cobra, I much prefer Odyssey flying about in the Cobra.
Yeah, for sure. Smaller ships are great fun in EDO.
Yeah. Right. Well, we're going to move on to probably the one that everybody wanted to talk about, which is the Moray. Now, the Moray is a special ship because this is specially made for water worlds. It's kind of a submarine that can also fly in space. It's also been that's Moray. Yeah. We also have Craig who's listening. Thank you. It's basically what looks like. Well, how would you describe it, Crash?
It's almost like a cobra flying backwards, isn't it? It's got the short, stubby front end, but then it's got a longer, sleek tail, isn't it? It's a really weird shape to it. I mean, goodness knows how they've managed to make it both, can survive 0 atmospheres and down to, several multiples. But yeah, it is. Perhaps that's why they had to pick the strange shape.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is that shape apparently to handle the pressures underneath of the water, but obviously, I think if we ever get water worlds, this is the ship that should come with it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, I think everybody would want Subnautica style gameplay with what happens, but. Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if Frontier would go that route, or whether they'd opt for something that could sort of deploy a submarine.
Yes, please.
Ooh.
Yes, please. Very much, please. Yes, please. Thank you.
So basically, instead of an SRV, you have a submarine.
I want to live my Thunderbird 2, Thunderbird 4 fantasy. Let me have this, please.
Yes.
Like you can go in your Moray starboats as much as you want. I would very much like to be a Thunderbird. Thank you kindly.
Would you like to have a big was it called the mole as well?
The mole.
Something that can dig its own tunnels.
Yeah, that's the mole, not the mole.
Yeah.
Oh God, you can't believe that I'm able to remember Thunderbird machinery. What is wrong with me?
You know what? Speaking of Thunderbirds, I shouldn't because we're running late. But somebody posted a clip. It was a clip of like a giant sort of aeroplane that had a bomb on board landing, and it had lost its landing gear, and the Thunderbirds were driving these 3 sort of lorries to act as its landing gear. It was just brilliant. It was such a tense scene. I couldn't not watch it to the end. It was.
It wasn't a bomb on board. This was the time in the 60s when they thought everything would be nuclear powered.
Right.
So basically, it was a nuclear powered plane, and everything had a small reactor on it. So basically, you had nuclear powered cars, and nobody cared about it was very much like Fallout, where everything is nuclear powered, and who cares whether or not it blows up. Right. Well, I think we'll carry on to the Panther Clipper, because for the next 2 are actually quite interesting. We have the Osprey and the Osprey X. Now, both of these are Imperial fighters. They very much remind me. The Osprey especially reminds me of the Imperial fighter, and the Osprey X looks like a cross between what would happen with an X-wing if it was in the Flash Gordon universe. So basically, it's all curves, X-wing shapes that sweep forward, and I'm not sure about the Osprey, but I think I'd love the Osprey X because it's sort of the Imperial equivalent of a vulture.
I agree. The Osprey X looks really, yeah, I can imagine it being really elegant. It's
It'd look good in pictures, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
It goes back to that. It goes back to with a redesign. Would that look good in pictures? Yes, it would. I will have that, please. I don't care what it flies like.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Osprey, and it's really covered by the Imperial fighter, because it basically is the most maneuverable ship in the game. It can outturn an eagle. So yeah.
Yes, please. I think we'll have this one.
Yep. Okay, so everyone agrees with the Osprey X, not so much the Osprey. And then finally, the one that we're going to talk about tonight is one which has also been requested quite a lot. It is the legendary Panther Clipper.
I've never heard of that ship. What is that?
It's the biggest cargo vessel there has ever been. It has been mentioned quite often in a lot of the flavor text, and there's also been hints of it actually being shown off on other streams, which we don't really go into, but we've seen things about it. Crash.
I want this so bad. I've wanted this since day one.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even know what I would do with it. It would just be like my prized possession. It for me as a kid, that was like the ultimate thing. Once I finally achieved getting that in FE2, it was like, yes, I've made it. It's like, I didn't care about getting to elite rank. I didn't care about getting loads of money, exploring, but it was that. That was my goal. And it's like, I just want it. I want those rotating engines. I want that giant, chunky girth to it. You know, it's like, even if it doesn't fit in the mail slot, I just want it.
I mean, I should point out to everybody, it basically looks like the front of the Battlestar Galactica, but with huge engines at the back, along the side. That's effectively the design. And it was that massive, you just put shield generators on it and just rammed your way through pirates. That's what you did.
Amen.
Alec?
Yeah, so I think Crash answered my first question. So it doesn't fit through the mail slot, right? Which is problem number one, I guess.
Yeah.
And the little so the engines, do they rotate a bit like the keelback?
Yes, that's exactly what they do. So if they tick off, basically the four engines would point down, and it's very much like a Harrier jump jet. You'd lift up like that, you'd see those four engines blast off, and as you begin to pitch up, the engines would still stay pointing down until you could basically go for a full vertical launch. It was quite impressive to watch in back in the day. I would love to see what Frontier could do with it. Psychic?
It's conspicuous by its absence at this point, isn't it?
When
you say more so than anything else on the list, given everything that we know, the Panther Clipper, or what is it, the Clipper XL, I feel I just feel that she come in, and oh Lord, she come in, because she gonna be thick. And I'm cool with that. I think it's going to be interesting. It might serve a different function in Elite, especially if it in Elite Dangerous, especially if it doesn't fit through the mail slot, because we'd then have to look at like other ships to add to transfer cargo to a mail slot, for example, and things along those lines. But it just makes me giggle just even talking about it seriously.
I know that there's been so much speculation about this one particular ship. Ironically, and that's not the one that I really wanted. I must be the only person that, when I heard that there's a possibility of that's the ship coming in the game, I just went, oh. Everyone else went, yay! And I just went, oh. But, yeah, I mean, David Braben did say that there was a possibility of there would be ships that would be too big for the mail slot to get get through. So it could be a case of maybe at that point we have the smaller ships to transfer cargo, but we can only hope. I'd love to see that mechanic in.
Yeah,
It's
I was going to
it's
say.
a tricky one, isn't it, for Frontier? I mean, it's more than just a ship design. There's quite a lot in that. Like if you deploy a shuttle, let's say, then first of all, you're not going to be able to transfer anything like the Clipper's full cargo into that shuttle. So you'd have to do loads of runs backwards and forwards, which is a pain. And then you've sort of got this abandoned ship. So if you go into the station and then dock and then switch from your shuttle to a different ship, I don't know. It raises a lot of problems for Frontier, I suspect.
Yeah, which is probably one of the reasons why it's not made an appearance just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is why we need the lifters and the NPC drones and all, just ferrying things back and forth. So you park up outside a station and you pay a fee to offload and load up.
It would mitigate like a need to have it would mitigate people saying, "Oh, you have like an unfair advantage." I hate the idea of people saying that just you bought a bigger ship, so you have an unfair advantage. But it would go some way to alleviate their concerns if you're having to pay a fee, not albeit not substantial, but pay a fee to transfer from your Panther Clipper to your what's it? You know what I mean? To the ship, to the station.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit there was a lot of things that I didn't like about the Panther Clipper, but one of the things I did like was the aesthetics of its taking off and landing. I mean that especially from planets, because that looked impressive. I mean, I'd like it if, say, the only place it could land would be a planetary port. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that would get old. I think I'd just sit there dismissing it and recalling it and dismissing it and recalling it.
Just to see those engines in action. Yeah. I must admit, yeah. The more people talk about it with this kind of enthusiasm, the more I want to see it now, which is good. Now, there are a few ships left, which I think we'll cover next week. This subject lasted 3 weeks. Yay!
Maybe 4 if we're lucky.
3 weeker.
So, Alec, I mean, quickly, we had some responses from your question about this very subject. We got if you want to go through them.
Are these the remaining ones on the show notes? Because we didn't quite get through them all.
No.
So Northpin commented it was a response to something last week, and I can't quite remember what. I think it was on the ship that was described as being taller than it was wide and had to go through the mail slot sideways. I think it was that one, and Northpin just suggested that it was a B-wing the size of a Panther Clipper, which I think you suggested it was like a big B-wing. So
yeah, a beluga-sized B-wing. I think that would be great. You imagine the sort of massive, sort of vertical-like ship, like I don't know, like the mothership from Homeworld that has to flip round.
I really, the idea of going through the mail slot sideways really appeals because, I mean, I think a lot of people, it's misleading the size of the mail slot. So if you're in something tiny like a Sidewinder or a little Eagle or something, you can easily go through the mail slot sideways, but it feels so wrong. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, so we had a comment from Angus Madmac 1 who was looking for a decent medium Imperial ship. I think we've touched on a couple of those tonight, actually.
I like the fact he's like you, Psychic. He'd like a Thunderbird 2 or a Space 1999 Eagle, which is basically modular.
And lastly, Eds Up was speaking our language and just said he'd love all the ships of Elite, which basically equates to Elite 1 to 3. Yeah, I think we're we're going down that list, and I think we've agreed that the ones that don't go in the game can go in the Tierney-Isla graveyard, so they can all go in the game.
Yes, I think that is yes. We want the graveyard in, guys. Come on. We'd like that. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to move on to the community corner for the moment. Unfortunately, Psychic, I think you'll have to take this one.
Yeah, I can. I know. This is the other podcast that I do. Flight Assist is taking a bit of an indefinite hiatus at the moment. I might have touched on, I might have touched on something which may indicate as to why a little bit earlier in the show. But there's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column K. Sorry, a little bit of column M, a little bit of column K, and a metric fuck ton of column C, which is stopping all of it from happening at the moment. But we're on an indefinite hiatus. We're reviewing it at the beginning of next year, and it's something I really love to do, and I just wanted to make sure that I vocalized it on another platform to say, because I know there's a lot of crossover between the podcast type things. So hopefully we will be back soon, health permitting.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Yes, it's. I know. I must admit, I'm going to miss Flight Assist because I do like the fact that you've got this absolutely standard template to follow, but all the answers are different. This is great, but yeah.
I hope that it I really do hope that it comes back, but there are a lot of mitigating factors that need to fit into place. And because I love it to pieces, and I really do, and I love doing. I very much enjoy doing podcasts, and not having that as another creative outlet is definitely something that's really upsetting, but for the best.
Are you still doing the Monday replays, Psychic, or are those on
Not
hold?
at the moment. No, we're gonna put those on hold as well.
Okay, that's right.
Well, we have something else as well from the Burs and Cannon. Apparently, this is the Ballad of the Gnosis Jinn. I've got no clue what this is.
It's a LCU and another person whose name I do not know, but she has a beautiful voice. Singing, it's a take on a Frank and Nancy Sinatra piece, the Ballad of, I can't remember. I'm really struggling. But it's
The Ballad of Bonnie and Clyde or something.
No, it's not. It's something Wine, I think, is the name of the other song, but I can't remember for the life of me. But it's LCU and this woman with an absolutely beautiful voice singing along to a video by the Burr Pit. It's a lovely collaborative piece and quite funny because it's LCU doing his usual stuff. But yeah, check it out.
Excellent. I'll give that a listen and a watch later. Right. Well, Alec, it's done. It's the reason why you ran away. But let's go over it. The Last Gasp has had its results, and we've also got the 8-Ball Championship results as well. Take it away.
We have indeed. How to cover this? I don't really. So the Last Gasp. It was a sensational finish. I wish I sort of could have shared this with people because the finish was basically me going through the last. There was a lot of submissions on the Sunday. I think everyone had saved up their best runs for the last day. And there were people running right up to the sort of midnight wire. So when I got into work on Monday morning, I had a good 15 or 16 submissions to check through, and they were all over the place. I mean, the top 4 places in regulation shuffled around on the last day. We had a new first in Unlimited on the last day, and it was brilliant. Somebody would come in second and beat somebody else, and then somebody else's submission would turn up in my inbox, half an hour later and beat them. It was all over the place. But yes, our winners for the Last Gasp in regulation we had Brusky in 3rd place in the Flaming Onion Head Express.
Mm-hmm.
A late showing from Elastor Fur, who's the commander name of Osric, one of the mods here, and in 2nd, and the but frankly unbeatable Shay Blackwood in 1st place, who people who haven't taken part in the race won't fully appreciate this, but Shay Blackwood managed to push it to 1,453 light years, which is just insane. I mean, unbelievable. To go that far and come back in the time available.
Was that regulation?
That was regulation. Yeah,
Holy shit!
By
I
comparison,
know.
Osric in second place was 1,200. So he managed to get another 200 odd light years. Incredible. And in unlimited class, Sulu ended up in third place. Bravo, Sulu. Shay Blackwood ended up knocked down to second, and Brusky came in first place. Interesting thing about the unlimited class actually was that all three of the final podium winners ended up in Asp Scouts, which I think is great because I think the Asp Scout gets a bit of a kicking from the community, and it's fabulous to find that it's found
It's
its
found
place.
its use.
I think
Who
the
would have
reason,
thought the Asp Scout would have worked for buckyballing?
yeah,
It can go exactly 50 light years.
that's the thing. Two reasons. We had a 50 light year maximum limit on outfitting. So you could outfit your unlimited ship however the hell you want, but it couldn't go more than 50 light years. So the Asp Scout just tucked into that. And it has really good super cruise maneuvering. And what that means in a buckyball race is that you can really hammer it to your destinations and let that ETA get down to sort of 2 seconds or 1 second, and then pull these really tight supercruise turns that apply massive braking effects. So yeah, Asp Scout for the win. Who'd have thought it? And then
Excellent. It brings us on to the final results then.
It does indeed. So having done that that was my Monday, basically going through that spreadsheet. And then Tuesday, I then transferred all the points across to the big 8-ball championship. So the idea with the 8-ball championship was we had 8 races that started back in February.
Was it that long ago?
Yep.
Wow.
So from February through to October. Each race lasts, so we run all our races from Saturday to the following Sunday. So they're all 9 days. So that is 72 days of racing throughout 3308 in this championship, which is quite a good statistic. I had, for last gasp, I had 60 odd submissions, I think about 65 submissions. I know Sulu had over 100 for his race. So I'm sort of thinking an average of 50 odd. So across 8 races, I guess we've had, I did do the sums earlier, but it was looking like 500 odd submissions. And so I'm guessing there's been thousands of runs over the course of the championship, which is quite something.
Yeah, I mean, it has been amazing to watch, and we do have to congratulate everybody who has run a race, and we've got to thank them for their time and the organisation, because basically this is the kind of thing that really sets Elite Dangerous apart from other games, is this kind of competition or organisation, and yeah.
It's been great, and I've had such lovely comments back. So it looks like we're doing it next year. I think everyone had far too much fun, so I think we have to do another one next year now. The championship winners were, and the nice thing about this is that it's exactly the same 3 in both unlimited and regulation, in exactly the same order. So I think they have firmly defined their positions, if you like.
Yeah.
So third place is Captain MD in both classes. A terrific streamer. If people haven't watched Captain MD, he does, I think, most, if not all, of his racing live streamed. Bit unfortunate for this race because it meant he was giving away his routes. But I find him a fantastic streamer. He's very, very meticulous, very calm, very, he gives away a fantastic amount of information. Reminds me a little bit of Exegius in that regard. And so very educational watching his streams, and he knows exactly what he's doing and tells the audience. So good stuff. Brusky in second place in both classes, and of course Shay Blackwood in first. So Shay Blackwood officially 3308 fastest pilot in the galaxy.
And the thing was, it was all down to the last race because he overtook Brusky on the last race, didn't he?
Yes, one of the races, if you did the sums, he couldn't lose But yes, there was a chance that things could go the other way. But Shay's score in let's do the best one. Shay's score in unlimited class is 57 out of a maximum 60. So if he won every single race, he'd get 60. He got 57, which is insane.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
The final thing I wanted to comment actually on these leaderboards is in some ways I find the bottom half of the top 10 interesting because there's the same names, and I think I could have predicted who was going to be in the top 5, give or take, but there are some nice surprises in the bottom 10, which I love that we've got some new people that sort of got into racing this year. People like Epiphus, Calum and Cola's really got into it, and he was top 10 this year. J Space, we've got Psychic 12.
Hi, that me.
Fantastic. It's great because it was getting a little bit stagnant. I mean, it's always fun, but it's always the same names. So the best thing for me is seeing all these new people turn up and have such a blast with it.
Yeah, it's like it. I mean, you've obviously enjoyed being involved with this all the way through. So
Yeah.
how do you feel at the end of this? It's certainly out of the 1 point club.
Oh yeah, the last 2 races I didn't get 1 point, so I got more than 1 point. I didn't get 0 for I got more than 1 point, so it was really fun. It was really fun. The again, especially towards the end, I wasn't really able to do a lot of unlimited, but I really enjoyed flying the Cobra so much so that I'm gonna engineer one and make it an alternative Odyssey ship. The other thing I wanted to bring up, other thing that I really wanted to bring up was the fact that you'll notice, Colin, that you've beaten Katiana, and I feel like it's important for me to mention it because she was gutted earlier.
Well, the fact that I was actually higher in the rankings. Yes, I'm the only person in there with 5 points because I wasn't able to do the last 3 races. I really wanted to do one of them, but unfortunately, time was against me, especially this weekend. But I mean, congratulations to Psychic. We've also got a friend, Mac Winston. He's no longer in the 1 point club either. So, fair play to Mac. And of course, we've got Homburger as well, one of our favourite fuel rats. He's there.
Indeed.
And I also
actually, just a quick shout out for Homburger. If anyone, I haven't got the link to hand, but Homburger's done a little blog for every race of the entire championship, and they're brilliant. They're such a good read. So yeah, go and track those down.
So, I mean, I'm hoping that everybody who's even if they've just raced once, they've got the bug for it, and for when it comes around next year, then it's going to be a full-on. Right, we're all in this together.
I'm so excited
I'll
about.
tell you one thing for sure: I am not doing last gasp again. If 100 people decide to enter that race, that's my week gone. So yeah,
I'm so excited about the idea of doing the Pareco run again.
Yeah.
Like because we started with it, and I feel like I was such a novice when we first started doing this, and I was just like having a bit of fun, and then I suddenly got the bug during the Pareco run. I'd love to see if I could beat it now, but I'm not going to do it without there being a competition, because what's the point?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Katiana is actually quite upset about the fact that she only got 4 points.
She's just disappointed. She's just disappointed. She should have put her finger out of her ass and actually taken part in one of the races.
I didn't realise I was hated so much. Right. Well, we will leave the buckyball for the moment. Just in other quick news, for those of you that like the Sanctimonious stories, which is basically these short stories which I write for in the universe of Elite Dangerous, there is a new one out based on the events on HIP 22460, and you can find that in the show notes. We'll give you a link to it. Another couple of events which are happening is the CQC Discord are taking full advantage of the crossplay between 4.0 Horizons and Odyssey, and that is now their platform of choice for their new events. So unfortunately, we'll have missed, if they do every Tuesday night, probably just before the show starts. They have the Plasma Challenge, which is basically everybody in a federal fighter and just armed with plasma cannons, and best one wins. And then on Thursday, between 6 and 8 UTC, they also have Tactical Thursday, which is effectively capture the flag. And they try and do some organized capture the flag playing. I would recommend it. I've been involved in it once, and it was a laugh. But if you get Musketeer on your team, hey, yes. And in addition, the Anti-Xeno Initiative have also started Operation Blot. Now, this is to help them take out those Thargoid-loving hippies in the Thargoid cult. They're doing special rewards for as many hippie religious extremists that they can off in the week. So. Always worth having a look at the Anti-Xeno Initiative. They also have the Finance Friday event, which was on a Friday. They have a competition to see who can basically get the most money destroying Thargoids. So that's always good to follow. We don't have any Mostly Clueless thing for you this week, but we do have some Any Other Business.
Yes, because we talked about it earlier, the D2 information, and Tessero was the one who leaked the info that was from D2. It was on the 10th of June. Katie did some Googling for me, some mad Googling, and found it. But by the looks of it, looking at the logs, it was initially like an anonymous source. So I think it was digital communication. So she might not have even, Tessero might not have even known what D2 looked like or anything along those lines. So reading between the lines, it's completely understandable that Tessero might not have even recognized D2 until she provided some identification.
Yes. Okay, well, I stand corrected on that one. So, mistakes were made. Crash, are you still doing your Friday night streams?
Oh, absolutely, mate. Yes. Obviously, last week was the exception. Like I said, had to head down to the back end of Wales somewhere and help with that. But yes, absolutely doing that. We've been obviously doing a variety of things, as I always do. The week before, I forgot to mention earlier that I streamed Odyssey entirely from the Steam Deck for 4 hours. I was thoroughly impressed with the little thing. Fantastic piece of kit that is, and was running perfectly fine on that. But yeah, it's great fun as always. Friday night, I try to do it as often as I can, with the exception of various adulting getting in the way.
Yes, I can hear you on that, especially when you have deadlines pressing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll just have. Well, I guess Alec is taking a well-earned break from the buckyball and so on. So I guess we'll go straight to the shout-outs. So as everybody knows, the Dex Legacy is on hiatus at the moment as they start working on Series 2. But if you pop over to dexlegacy.com, there's plenty of bonus materials and merc to buy, which all proceeds from which will go to making Season 2. And of course, we've also got Escape Velocity playing before this episode, which is good to hear. I've got to check with Chris about the latest version of Season 2, which had all the latest sounds on it, because I think that's gone missing, but we'll track it down. Obviously, our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, which broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at Twitch TV Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. The discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action can check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/EliteDangerousCQC. all one word. And I guess we'll have to give an even shorter list of other Elite Dangerous podcasts which have appeared over the last year. We have the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well. And of course, we'll wave to all the guys over at Loose Screws in the States for their usuals. Yes, the Flight Assist do have episodes available.
You can still listen to all of the back catalogue. It's not like we've removed everything off the internet. It's still there, and the nature of Flight Assist is that it's pretty timeless. You can go back and listen to them, as I've discovered in re-listening to them myself.
Yes, well, following on for this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd like to thank everybody who's chipped in on the chat, on the Twitch chat during this, and on the YouTube as well. So thanks, guys. And we do have some in-game commanders who have annoyed the Chris Mark IV. We've had Miggles, JCP Digger, who's shot down the Chris Mark IV in a case of mistaken identity, Commander Ventura, and Mav 3 or 3 Wonkus, which I've probably completely massacred. So everybody take a drink. And of course, special thanks goes to Commander Tokuso, Jay and Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music for the show. Apparently, Mavericus?
I'd have said Maverick US or Mavericus, maybe.
We listen to this. We've given you so many variations. One of them's got to be right.
If you throw enough shit at a wall, some of it will stick.
And now you know what my approach is to podcasting.
Just don't get your ball stuck in the mail slot, all right?
No, but this is similar because it must be a Hitler one because there's only one ball. Oh dear, we're going to have to edit that one out. So that's it, thank God, for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio or tweet us at Lave Radio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, and you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now, do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future show. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to Psykit.
You're welcome, Colin. Thank you.
Thanks to Alec.
Thanks all. Goodbye.
And of course, special thanks to Commander Crash.
A pleasure, mate.
And special thanks also go to today's tech specialist, the Chris Mark IV.
You're welcome.
And it's good night from him, and it's good night from me. Right, until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word.
Space can be loaded.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 4th of October 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, we listen to part of the Joy Sen Ice Cast and wonder what impact the Thargoid Advocacy Project will have on the immediate future of the galaxy. Icecaster Joyce Sen has broadcast a terrifying howl of pain allegedly recorded when the Proteus wave was activated in HIP 22460 and smuggled out, possibly by Thargoid activists. This howl is very different from the massive pulse of energy emitted from the system after the Thargoids had come back to life and taken the system over. Let's just hear that sound. That sounded like a mixture between a cry of victory and some sort of long-distance communication. This new recording, which is of uncertain provenance but is being widely circulated on social media platforms, may, according to Sen and her guest on the episode, Haimar Borichev, deputy editor of The Sovereign, indicate that the Proteus wave weapon incorporated a living Thargoid and that this is the sound of it crying out in despair and anguish. Borichev had come on the Joy Sen Icecast to promote the Thargoid Advocacy Project, an organic movement promoting peace between Thargoids and humans. He wants to get the movement out of the fringe media, like his own The Sovereign, and to get the choice of a negotiated peace with the Thargoids openly discussed in the mainstream media. In addition to the peace movement and the Thargoid scream, they also discuss the Stargoids, flares or signals, and whether when they eventually arrive at a human-inhabited system we should greet them with flowers and a welcoming committee. Here's an edited version of their conversation. If you want to hear the full discussion, it's at Joy Sen's ice beacon near Ayabiko, Planet 3.
Joy Sen. So you're into the TAP stuff, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I believe it is a very impressive movement. TAP, or the Thargoid Advocacy Project,
Right.
for people unfamiliar with the term.
I've been talking about it for a while now. My viewers are probably sick of it by now.
Oh, well, let's hope not, because again, I have to say, it is really important, I think. The Thargoid Advocacy Project is, in my mind, the best chance we have for a diplomatic resolution to the war. More and more regular civilians are taking notice of the peace message and sharing it on ICE platforms.
Yeah.
Your media, Joy. My intended contribution is to bring that conversation to the mainstream news feeds and keep it there.
I think that, if we're being honest, the Xenopeace calls should be seen on Galnet. They should be on the Imperial Herald and on the Federal Times.
Yes.
Promoting peace and a diplomatic solution to a war which is now 5 years long shouldn't be restricted to independent journalists.
Have you heard the recording from HIP 22460?
I have. It's such a sad sound. It's so mournful.
We don't know what made it. It is definitely Thargoid, but it does not match the noises from the Thargoid ships we have encountered so far.
So, some of my crew are convinced that something alive was used to power the Proteus wave weapon that Salvation built. I wouldn't put it past him. He was such a scumbag.
You are not a fan of Salvation's work,
Are
then?
you kidding me? Here, let's play this sound for everyone. Turn your volume up. Listen to this. That sounds like something's alive and in pain. Whatever Salvation tried to do, it hurt the Thargoids.
And then they reacted violently.
Right.
That is what I've been arguing on the Sovereign Network. We have been the aggressor in this conflict,
Exactly.
and the Thargoids are responding in kind. There must be a concerted effort to break the cycle of war, or both species are doomed to many more years of suffering.
All three superpowers covered it up, though. Deliberately hiding this from us, this evidence that the Thargoids feel pain or even sadness, if that's what they did, and I'm not saying they definitely did, I'm just saying it doesn't look good, then we're being lied to. And I don't want to believe that they'd lied to us. It makes me feel icky or something.
Well, once again, the Thargoid Advocacy Project may change that. If our leaders try to convince the public that continued war is the only answer, they may be surprised by such strong calls for peace.
I hope so. Haimar, what do you think about the mysterious signals currently moving towards the core systems?
That is a good question. I find them fascinating. A mystery yet to be solved.
I know, right? I hope we can learn more about them soon.
Have you discussed them on your show before?
Let me tell you something. My crew has been tracking these things by the hour. We're so excited about what they could mean.
Well, your crew must have considered both the pros and cons of what these anomalies are. It would be very naive to expect a purely benevolent intent.
I get what you mean. Are you worried that they're dangerous?
Yes, I worry that we have invited danger to our space. Yes, I do. Our leaders have overseen a consistent level of antagonism towards anything non-human.
Do you think that they're Thargoid related?
Well, that is a popular theory, but currently we have no evidence to support it. All we know is that they are traveling towards our borders at a remarkable speed.
Yeah, the first one we found has a definite route. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a comet or anything. It's moving between systems.
Right, which indicates a level of intelligence or good programming, maybe.
Yeah.
But if we assume the former, and once again, we must not be naive in our thinking, if it is an intelligent source, then it means we must be very careful in how we greet it.
Yeah. If recent events are anything to go by, we'll probably try and form a battle fleet to go intercept it. I wish we'd try something else for once.
Yeah, which brings us back to the TAP idea.
Yeah.
We must petition our leaders on the local, stellar, and interstellar level.
Yeah.
Push every aspect of governance to explore diplomatic avenues with both the Thargoids and with these signals, if at all possible.
I completely agree. So you heard the man, people. Get the message out there. We need an alternative to war, and it's time our voices were heard. Mwah!
In the broadcast, Borichev and Sen failed to put forward any clear plan about how peace could be achieved without the ability to understand the motivations of the Thargoids or to communicate with them. This is something Aegis might be able to achieve were it to be reformed. Professor Albertesro is holding a conference in Altair right now to try and get backing from the superpowers for a new version of the Xeno Research Organisation. Meanwhile, with the Far God's new True Chapter movement losing the battle against federal oppression in Papontia, they seem on track for the federal military to seize their new megaship, the Dedicant, a major setback for a pro-Thargoid movement. Perhaps the secular peace movement will also fail to get the level of support it's hoping for. Perhaps humanity will fall back on the old faithfuls of Gauss cannon and flak launchers to greet both the Thargoids and the Stargoids when they eventually arrive. And with today's appearance of D2 at the Aegis conference saying that she knows what that screech means and that it's too late to stop what's coming. Perhaps we'll need those Gauss cannon and flak launchers, no matter what the Thargoid Advocacy Project may think. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.